I was living in Sierra Leone when Ebola first came into the country, and I very quickly saw quite how serious this outbreak was going to be and quite how unprepared the country was. So when I had the opportunity to come back with IMC, I grabbed it, and I felt like I had to come back in order to try and do whatever I could do to help. Any other patient needs? How are you doing?
Well, I didn't find.
Yeah. A case that sticks with me the most is of a family where a young child became sick, and the family was so scared to call for help that they decided to isolate the child in the house alone. The child was alone and unwell, Ebola symptoms, for 3 days and eventually died. They tried to dispose of the body by throwing the body in a well. For a mother and a family to get to the point where they'll do that, where they'll let their child suffer and eventually die in that way instead of calling for help, shows the level of fear and misunderstanding that still remains in the community. We need human resources, we need more people, we need local people to be trained up in simple psychological first aid so that they can talk to people, they can listen to people, and that they're comfortable listening to people who are showing extreme levels of distress, people who are pushed to the edge by fear and anxiety, that they might be making strange decisions. But we need people who are comfortable dealing with that and being able to turn that around and say that what you need right now is help. What you need is help from the services, and that early treatment is better than no treatment at all. So I think the psychosocial response is everywhere. And then once the cases do go down, then we have an even bigger job. Once the initial fear of Ebola goes and we have the cases down to zero, then the psychosocial response is involved in trying to piece the country back together.